have the microphone for the audience. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I see a few people are still getting their seats. Just want to let you know we're going to be starting now. Good afternoon, Retrievers. How's everyone doing today? All right. Well, first off, the very first thing I want to say is welcome to UMBC. All right. So good to see all of you. We want to welcome you. We thank you for joining us today. We have a lot of great information to share with you. And as you know, this is our Welcome Week Academic Toolkit presentation. So what we're going to be going through is your toolkit of support services, resources, and we actually have some great advice to get you off to a good start. So just to start us off, my name is James Hamilton. I serve as the Director of Academic Advising for our College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. All right? So congratulations to all of you. You've already passed the first test. You've already chosen the best college on campus, the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. I just want to let you know that we offer the most academic program offerings, majors, minors, certificates. We have the best faculty, and now we also have the best incoming class of new freshmen and new transfers. All right. We are all very excited about this academic year. Like I said, we want to get you all off to a good start, so we hope that the information that you hear today will be helpful, will be useful. If you have friends or classmates that are not here, please feel free to share this information and pass it along. All right, so today we will be giving you, like I said, information about dates, deadlines, communication, student support services, campus resources, and how to be academically successful during your time here at UMBC. First off, though, I would like to introduce our Associate Dean for Student Success. Her name is Dr. Anna CAHSS, and she will be bringing greetings on behalf of our Dean's Office today. Dr. CAHSS is a former department chairperson for our Modern Language, Linguistics, and Intercultural Communication Department, and she is in her second year of serving as our Associate Dean for Student Success. She is an amazing teacher, mentor, supporter, and also happens to be my supervisor. So with no further ado, we will now have greetings on behalf of the Dean's Office from Dr. Anna CAHSS.
Hello everyone, how are you doing today? Come on, some energy. How are you doing today? Much better. That's what we want to hear from you. We want to hear an energetic class that has a lot of eagerness and willingness to work hard in our college. Yes? Yes. All right. So my name is Anna Scott, and I am currently serving as Associate Dean in the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, and I focus on student success. So remember my face. If you see me walking down the hallways or when you see me walking on campus, make sure that you say hello to me. I love meeting all of you and I love hearing from you. The reason why I focus on student success is because I love teaching and I love mentoring students. And what you are going to find at UMBC is many faculty members who love teaching and who love mentoring students. When you are here, make sure you talk to us. If you have any problem, make sure that you come to our office hours, because we want you to be successful at UMBC. We are here to support you, and we are here to help you. You need to work, that also, but we want you to be helpful in your journey as you graduate. I recommend you, when you are at UMBC, that you study hard, but you also participate in the activities that take place on campus. That's a great opportunity to meet friends and to meet others who think like you. It's also a great opportunity to have a say in what happens at UMBC. I'm telling you, if one day you get an email from the dean's office asking you to be part of the undergraduate advisory board, say yes. Okay? Did you hear that? Say yes. Because that's a great opportunity to meet the dean and to work with the dean and the dean's office to make UMBC a better place. Everyone? Yes? All right. And with that, I'm going to let Mr. James Hamilton continue the presentation. Welcome to UMBC. We are so glad you are here. And remember, when you see us around, come to us, say hello. We want to know how you are doing and how you are doing in your classes.
Thank you so much, Dr. CAHSS. As she mentioned, we are all here to help. So please, please take advantage of all the resources available to you. The Dean's Office is working very hard to make sure that we are advising our students properly and connecting you with the resources that you need for research, for academic study, for internships. There are a lot of things that we're working on to make this an overall great experience for you. All right, so with no further ado, quick question for the crowd. How many of you are on Instagram? Raise a hand. All right, so we're gonna stop right here. And if you all could do me a huge favor, and I'm actually gonna ask you to pull out your phones right now. Those of you that are on IG, the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, we have our own Instagram account, and we want you to follow us, but we have a special announcement that the CAHSS advising team, we are now going to be able to send communication to you through Instagram. And if you could follow us, we can give you information about dates, important dates, deadlines, student-related activities, guests when they come onto campus, internship opportunities, a lot of different things. Obviously, email is the #1 source of communication in college. But just in case you forget to read that email, you might see that post on our IG. So we just want to make sure that we are trying all different ways to communicate and make sure that this information is getting to you. So I will give everyone a minute to do that, and we will be having posts going out this week. So you will see posts from the college, but you will also see posts from the CAHSS advising team. So just so you all know, if you hear CAHSS, that's just short for the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. But if you look on our slide, you see the CAHSS advising logo. So if you see our logo, which is over there to the right, you'll know that that is a post from the advising team versus a post just coming generally from the college. So we just want to make sure that you guys are seeing those posts, being aware of those dates so that you can take advantage, plan those things, put them on your calendar, and make sure that you attend these events and make sure that you're aware of the information and deadlines and dates. So we really want to thank you for that, and we're really excited to be able to connect with you through Instagram now. Everybody got it? All right. All right, so just by show of hands one more time, how many of you here already know what you're going to major in? Wow, all right. Seems like people are pretty decided here. But just in case you haven't had a chance to look at our academic programs, we offer a plethora of options for you. I'm just going to go through what they are. So, as you know, we are broken up into 3 parts: the arts, the humanities, and the social sciences. In the arts, we have dance, music, theater, and visual arts. In our humanities area, we have English, history, modern language, linguistics, and intercultural communication, and also philosophy. In the social sciences, we offer economics, geography and environmental systems, emergency health services, public health, political science, psychology, sociology, and anthropology. And then in addition to those programs that were just listed, we also offer a wide array of interdisciplinary programs such as Africana Studies, Ancient Studies, American Studies, Asian Studies, Gender, Women's and Sexuality Studies, Global Studies, and Media and Communication Studies. So if you do already know what your major is going to be, you do have an option to add some of these areas as a minor, as a second major, or if you're really, really competitive, you can even add a third major. So If you have questions about what these other programs look like, if you want to get connected with an advisor, if you want to get any information like that, please reach out to myself or members of the CAHSS advising team. All right, so I know we had a show of hands for all of the students that are decided, but are there any students here that are still exploring their options? I see a few hands. All right, so if you are still an exploratory student, we do have options for you. For any of our undecided majors and you have interests, but you don't really know how to connect with the program or how you want to kind of match that with the career option, we want you to explore, and we want you to visit our Office of Academic and Pre-Professional Advising. They can work with you if you are still an undecided major. They have a variety of options for you, and they also have advisors in that general advising office that can help you with that. So just some fun facts for you. 1 in 3 students end up changing their major within their 3 years of initial enrollment. So I always tell students as an advisor, it's okay if what you start with is not what you end with. You might take a class that completely changes your perspective on what you want to do in terms of an academic major or even as a career option. So we actually encourage you to explore as early as possible. The only downside to changing your major is if you wait too late. You don't want to take classes in one major and then late switch like junior, senior year, and then a lot of the classes that you took towards the first major are not able to be counted towards the new major. So it's best to do it in the first 2 years, because in those first 2 years, you're taking a lot of general education program requirements, like your arts and humanities electives, your social science electives, your culture electives. So this is a time to take classes that you're getting credit for your general education requirements, but also giving you exposure to some other things that you might want to consider as a major, a minor, or a certificate. Another quick fact for you. 1 in 10 students change their major 2 or more times. So even if you change one time, that might not be your last, but it's okay. We just encourage you to speak with an advisor about what that could look like for you. We have professional, dedicated advisors that can walk you through the process, tell you what the required classes would be, and help you with the course mapping so that we can try to keep you on track to graduate on time, which is our goal, and we hope that is your goal as well. Another quick fact, for some students, changing majors will actually help them graduate sooner than those who remain in their first choice. The reason this is because some majors require more credits than others. So if you're leaving a major that may require 50 to 60 credits and you're changing to a major that may only require 36 to 42 credits, obviously that could decrease your time to degree completion. So depending on what you're changing to, it could help you graduate sooner. Last but not least, being exploratory gives you time to understand how you learn, identify your strengths and weaknesses, and discover your true academic and career passions and aspirations. So we really want you to take this time while you have it to really think about what it is that you want to do. Does the major that you're in fit with that career choice if you already know? And if you don't think that it's a good fit, do some exploring. We definitely encourage it, and we are here to help. And you also have tools within your MyUMBC student account. I don't know if you've seen the What If report, but the What If report is literally that. What if I change my major? And you can see what the requirements would be under the new program or area of study. So I mentioned this earlier. If you are an undecided student and you have not selected a major under our wonderful, amazing #1 college on campus, you can also visit our Office of Academic and Pre-Professional Advising for, like I said, exploratory information. You can meet with them about making sure you're staying on track with your general education program requirements until you decide on what your major is going to be. So we want to make sure that you're making good use of this time and taking advantage of exploring, but also staying on track to graduate on time. So there are a team of advisors there in the Office of Academic and Pre-Professional Advising, and they can help you evaluate your options, go over requirements, and provide additional assistance. So don't forget, if you have already decided on a major under the college, then you will be assigned an advisor from that department. But if you have not, then we do still have options for you in our general advising office. Just some recommendations for you. These are just some things that we think would help along the way. Take courses that you may not have generally thought about taking because you never know what you might get out of that class and what it might be able to do for you later. So we definitely encourage taking exploratory classes while you're doing your general education program requirements. Also use your tools. We have technology, but we also have manpower, and we have people here to help. The Career Center is a great place to go. We always encourage students to visit the Career Center. They have resume building, they have interview techniques, they have career and internship fairs. Those are really great. We have one upcoming. I'll talk about that when we get to our dates and deadlines. But really think about visiting our Career Center sooner than later, because they can get your mind going around what is needed for you to pursue the career of your choice. Also, we talked about the What If degree audit. I'll just mention it again. If you want to play around with the What If degree to see if another major suits you or fits better, you can utilize it, you can push it, you can plug in any major, minor, or certificate and see those requirements inside of your MyUMBC account. In addition to that, some students may not want to choose just one major. They might want to combine programs. They might want to build their own program for themselves. So we do have our individualized study program here at UMBC. If you are interested in combining 2 or 3 programs and you feel like maybe I just don't want to focus on one thing, but I want to study a little bit of this, I want to study a little bit of that, I want to move around, I want to kind of mesh these together, please think about our integrated studies track or our multidisciplinary studies track. All of these would give you options to combine different programs if you're not settled on just one. So these are just options for you as you are thinking about if you are in the right major and if it suits you appropriately. All right, a little bit more advice for you. We have academic success and transition resources available to everyone. Is anyone here signed up for any of our first year experience or first year seminar courses? All right. So those are really good in terms of helping you adapt and adjust to college life, introducing you to student support services. So we definitely encourage you, if you have not signed up for one, to take a first year seminar or first year experience or transfer seminar course for our new transfers. We want you to connect with us advising, but also other student support services such as the Academic Success Center. If anybody needs any tutorial support, we have great tutors and great staff members in our Academic Success Center. And we also have the Office of Academic Advocacy. Academic advocates are great. We have our own academic advocate. She is here today. Her name is Ms. Carrie Golden, and she is the assigned advocate for the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. So our advocates are able to help students with problems, challenges, anything that you might be going through, whether it's class-related or outside of the classroom. It might be a life challenge, it might be financial, it might be that you need to get connected with a resource that you just need someone to talk to. So the Office of Academic Advocacy is under our Academic Success Center, and we do encourage you to go there if you feel like you need that additional help outside of your instructor or outside of your academic advisor. And like I said, the tutoring assistance is also very great and needed in terms of our students for particular classes that they might be struggling with. We always encourage students to take advantage of the tutorial support that we offer. And then we also, last but not least, want you to engage in applied learning. Some of our majors require internships, some of them don't, but we encourage all students to do an applied learning experience or an internship. We also want you to consider studying abroad. Anybody here interested in studying abroad? All right, we got some hands. We have our Education Abroad office. We have advisors here that can help you plan out your study abroad, what country you want to go to, what classes you want to take, whether you want to stay in a dorm or a homestead. They can help you, and most importantly, how to finance that study abroad opportunity for you. Also, on-campus employment. If you're thinking about, getting a job on campus, if you're thinking about interning on campus, let us know. We want to make sure that we keep you engaged and take advantage of all the opportunities that UMBC has to offer. If anybody wants to take a picture, this is the contact information I've talked about these offices, the Academic and Pre-Professional Advising Office for our exploratory students, Individualized Study for those thinking about combining programs that may not be settled on one major, academic transition programs, we just talked about that, and of course our Academic Success Center. So this is the contact information for all of those offices that we just talked about. So I'll just give you a minute if anybody wants to get that. All right. So now we move on to how to be successful. Right now I just want to give some tips for how to be successful, not in just your first year at UMBC, but to last you throughout your time between now and graduation. Number one, please, please, please reach out to us earlier and sooner than later. The earlier the better in terms of finding potential solutions. We guarantee you if you reach out early, someone will be able to help you versus if you wait and we're not aware of the problem. Sometimes deadlines are missed, sometimes opportunities are already gone. So if you know that you need help or you know that you want to take advantage of something, just reach out to us. Faculty and staff can help with this, but reach out to us early so that we can help you find the best possible solution to if you're having a challenge, a problem, a struggle, a concern. It's early right now. Classes start on Wednesday, but we are already here and ready to help. Number two, manage your time wisely. How many of you all, by show of hands, like your schedule for the fall? All right, we got a lot of hands. If you do not like your schedule, we hope that you reach out to somebody to make adjustments. There is still time to make adjustments. Right now, we are in that period where you can add a class, drop a class, or even swap a class out if you are not interested in the subject matter that you originally chose. But we also have to realize we need to know ourselves. If you are not a morning person, it may not be wise to sign up for that 8 or 9 a.m. class. You might want to make your classes later. So since you're in charge of making your own schedule now, we want to make sure that you're making a schedule that is conducive to you being successful, being present in class, being attentive. Some people like morning classes, some people like evening classes, some people like to spread it out. Some people like to have certain days where they don't have any classes. And obviously we have students that have family obligations, work obligations. So we want to make sure that when you work with your advisor, you're letting them know about all of these obligations so that they can help you put a schedule together that works and that will allow you to be as successful as possible. And we do know that you are going to be interested in extracurricular activities as well. We do have Involvement Fest coming up, so you will get a chance to meet with all of our clubs and organizations. Some of you may be student athletes that have practice. All of this has to be worked into a weekly schedule. And did I forget to mention studying? I think I did. So I'm going to make sure that I mention studying needs to be worked into the schedule as well. So all of this is just something to think about from semester to semester, from year to year. You are now in control of your own schedule, and we want to make sure that you're using it wisely to make sure that it's working for you. Number three, take full advantage. We talked about this in the previous slides. We have a lot of student support services, but students don't always take advantage of them. So right now at the very onstart, we want to let you know that they are available to you, and we want to make sure that you visit them as frequently and as much as possible during your time here. Number four, develop healthy study habits. Every class is not designed the same. Every class is not measured the same. Certain classes require more study work than others. The classes that we see students struggle with are our foreign languages, our mathematics courses, science courses. These are courses that may not be as straightforward as other classes and that might require tutorial assistance. They might require you going to visit your instructor during their office hours, or it might even require getting a study buddy in the class that has a better grasp of the content. None of these are bad things. These are all things to help you. So we just want to make sure that you're developing healthy study habits and making sure that you devote the time necessary to these classes. Sometimes we see students say, well, you know, I have work, I have my club meeting, I have everything, but they have forgotten that class is the most important thing. Academics first. So we want to make sure that you're building a schedule that allots time for study, allots time for rest, allots time for your extracurricular activities too. But the study habits will definitely go a long way in terms of you being proactive and making sure that you're successful in your classes. So also, if you feel like you need outside counseling, we do have a counseling center with licensed professionals. If you need to talk to someone, we know that mental health is just as important as our physical health as well. So if you need to talk to someone, let us know. We can always make a referral to the counseling center. And obviously that keeps you healthy as well. Number 5 is very, very important. Last but not least, keep up with your academic progress. There are a couple of things that we want to make sure that you know and stay updated with throughout your time. One is knowing what your grade point average is. GPA is very important. Anytime a student drops below a 2.0, they go on academic probation, and you could be at risk for suspension. So we don't want that to happen to you. We want to keep your GPA as high as possible. GPAs also affect financial aid. GPAs also affect scholarships. So we want to make sure that you're not at risk of losing any of those things, but that means you need to do your best and always know where you stand in terms of your cumulative GPA. Also, you want to know your number of credit hours earned. Everyone should know that you need at least 120 credit hours to be eligible to graduate. No student can graduate with less than 120 credit hours. So the goal is to get 30 credits per year if you're planning on graduating in 4 years. 15 credits in the fall, 15 credits in the spring would give you 30 credits for each year. 30 credits makes you a sophomore, 60 credits makes you a junior, 90 credits makes you a senior, and 120, we hope to see you at graduation. All right? And then last but not least, just knowing that there are categories that you need to keep up with. It's not just your major, but also your general education program requirements, your major requirements, if you have a minor, your minor requirements, and your graduation requirements. There are graduation requirements such as the GPA requirement, the credit requirement, your writing intensive course. These are things that are under the graduation requirements. So we just want to make sure that you're aware of all of this at the very beginning. That way you can plan accordingly over the next 4 years. I didn't mention this earlier, but a very important office is our Office of Student Disability Services. If there are any students here that have any disabilities that we don't know about, we encourage you to visit our Student Disability Services office to inform them of your situation so that they can make accommodations for you. These accommodations are shared with your instructors. These accommodations come in very handy for students that need additional testing time, if they need a specific location in the classroom, if they have a hearing disability, a plethora of things. But the special accommodations can be made, but they cannot be made if we are not aware of those. So we want to make sure that you visit SDS if you have any of those issues, challenges. We can help, and we can make sure that you are set up for success in all of your classes because those accommodations are shared with all of your instructors. But it has to be updated from semester to semester because your classes will change and your instructors will change. So this is their information. If anybody wants to take a picture of the slide, we have their phone number and email address if you need to reach them. All right, so some important dates and deadlines. I guess we all know what Wednesday is, right? First day of classes. So we are very excited about that. We want to make sure that you are doing everything you need. If you have an online class, you want to make sure that you are getting connected with your Blackboard. If you have textbooks that you have not gotten yet, make sure that you're logging in for that to get the textbook information. So the first day of classes, like I said, is a very big deal. We are very excited that you're going to get to meet your new instructors, meet your classmates, and see where your classes are, learn the campus a little bit more. So that's the first important date. The second date to remember is September 13th. That is the deadline to make schedule adjustments. I talked a little bit right now. We are still in the schedule adjustment period. So if you have a class that you need to add, you still have time. If you have a class that you want to change, you still have time until the 13th. So after September 13th, you are locked in to the classes that you have. You will not be able to make any adjustments to your schedule. You would only be able to withdraw from a class after that. And the deadline to withdraw from a class, I'll get to in a minute, but the 13th is the last day to make any adjustments without the W grade for a withdrawal. September 20th is another important date. That is our fall 2023 career and internship fair. So I mentioned this earlier, our Career Center hosts a career and internship fair in the fall and the spring semester where we bring in organizations, employers on campus that want to speak to our students about employment, internships, and other opportunities that might be available to them. So we definitely want you to take advantage. That's going to be right here in this building that we're in at 11:30 on September 20th. And I mentioned this one, the next date, November 8th. So if after the 13th, like I said, you're locked into your schedules, but for any reason or if you have an emergency, something comes up where you feel like you're not going to be able to finish the class, we don't encourage students to withdraw, but if you have to, then that date would be November 8th. That is the last day to withdraw from a class. So if you missed the November 8th date, then that means that you no longer have the opportunity to withdraw from the class and you would have to take the grade that is earned in that class. So like I said, these dates are given every semester that I'm going through, but you want to make sure that you're updated from semester to semester so that you know what that date and that deadline is, because no changes can be made, unfortunately, after that deadline has passed. Obviously, we have our Thanksgiving break during this semester in November 23rd and 24th for Thanksgiving and American Indian Heritage Day. And December 12th, we have our last day of the semester for lectures. So at the end of the semester, there will be a last day for class in terms of your lecture. But that does not mean the semester is over. You still need to do your final exams. So we do have a study day for final exams, which is going to be on December 13th this semester. And then we have a final exam schedule, which is December 14th through the 20th. So expect to be taking your final exams for your classes during that time. That is a good time to have study groups, meet with your instructors to talk about what's going to be on the final exam. And because you're like at that point, you're done with the lecture part of it. It's really just preparation for the final exam. So these are all very important dates and deadlines to adhere to every semester. You will get these dates and deadlines. They're on our UMBC website under academics, and you just click on the academic calendar and you can see the dates and deadlines for each semester. All right, so I talked a little bit about the support services, but I'm just going to go into a few that we think are very key right now for you to take advantage of. Academic Success Center, I talked about them having tutorial support, the Office of Academic Advocacy with the advocates, very important office to visit when you are in need of help. The Career Center, we talked about them for career opportunities, career prep, resume building, internship assignments, they can help. Student Disability Services, I mentioned that one for anybody that needs special accommodations. Education Abroad, if you're interested in studying abroad, we want you to visit our Education Abroad office. Are there any students that will be commuting this semester that are not living on campus? Okay, I see a few students. We have our off-campus student services. We want to make sure that we keep our commuter students engaged as well as our on-campus residents as well. So make sure that you visit them if you are commuting. They do commuter breakfasts. They do programming, field trips for students that are commuting to make sure that they are still involved and that they are still engaged as to what's going on. Campus Life, this is the office that is in charge of our clubs and organizations. As I mentioned, there will be an involvement fest where you can get involved, learn about these clubs and organizations, what they do, what their mission is, and how to sign up to become a member. So Campus Life can connect you with them. Our Shriver Center, not sure if anyone here is involved, already involved, but if you want to continue to do community service, we have the Shriver Center that can connect you with community service and applied learning opportunities. And Student Business Services, please, please, please remember Student Business Services. If you have any questions about your bill, about tuition, about fees, about payment plans, Student Business Services is the office that you would want to go to. Counseling Center, I mentioned them earlier. If you need to talk to someone that's a licensed professional, we do have them here in the Counseling Center. And then the Technology Support Center. If you're having any problems with your MyUMBC, your Blackboard, anything technological, we have the TSC here to help. So these are offices that we think are very key support services. We want you to know who they are. We want you to look for them, visit them, and they should definitely be able to help with whatever challenges arise. All right, so we have made it through a big part of this presentation, but it wouldn't be right unless we heard from an actual faculty member to give you some expert advice. And to do that, I would like to introduce a friend and colleague of mine, Dr. Timothy Finn, who is our director of our Humanities Scholars Program. He's going to give you some good information to help you get off to a good start. So with no further ado, I will let you hear from Dr. Timothy Finn. Let's give a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Just making sure the energy that Dr. CAHSS asked for was still in the room. Okay, I know it's like chilly in here, though. It's like you have to really build it up. Okay. So I am Timothy Finn. I am a senior lecturer in the Department of Ancient Studies and the director of the Humanities Scholars Program here at UMBC. I am also a very proud UMBC alum. I graduated from UMBC in 2004, which makes, thank you, which means that next year will be my 20th anniversary having graduated. But that means that I arrived here 23 years ago at UMBC, and I've been sort of here ever since. I did my graduate work at Johns Hopkins University and then came back to teach at UMBC. So I bleed black and gold, I like to say, here in this place. Some of the advice that I'm going to give you today, you've already heard from Dr. CAHSS or from James. So they preempted me a little bit, but that's because it's good advice. And it's the kind of thing that your faculty members will want you to have in your wheelhouse as you're going forward. So I'm going to make 5 points. I like to do lectures like this. Make points, then tell you what I'm going to do, and then go ahead and do it. Okay. Number 5, I'm going to go from 5 to 1. So they're not really in order of supreme importance from 5 to 1, but they are sort of in my head, the organization that I would like to have on there. So number 5, I should say, is that you're not just a student. And this is what James was talking about, what Dr. CAHSS mentioned. We have a thing called Involvement Fest. I really encourage you, as a faculty member, to say something like, you're not just a student seems a little bit odd. I mean, they can say it because they're in charge of student success and student life and things like that. But from a faculty point of view, we're usually in our classrooms with our books, with our materials, and with you. But you're not going to be able to bring your best self to class if you're not being your best self out of class. So finding what you want to do outside of class is really, really very important. When I was an undergrad here at UMBC, I was actually a member of the student government for a number of years, from sophomore year onward. It took a little while for me to figure out my freshman year what I wanted to do. I was also part of, my major had its own group, its own council of majors, so a lot of your majors will have those. I definitely encourage you to get involved with those kinds of things if you want to look for some place to start. Because you're going to have you're going to have friends and people in your colleagues that are majoring with you, that'll be a good place to meet people as you go. And Involvement Fest is a great place to go to see what kinds of things are here at UMBC, what types of opportunities are available to you as you go forward in your next 4 years. Okay, now I get to sound like a professor. Okay, study was mentioned to you that you need to study. I like to think of studying as something you do with active studying. So active studying is coming to class and being prepared to take notes. Notes are your best friend as you go through the university life. Having notes means, and it can be any kind you want. I personally prefer sometimes physical notes. There's actually psychological studies that have been done that suggests that when you have something on paper, when you write pen to paper, you do tend to remember things better than when you type them on a screen. This is not to say that you shouldn't type on your screen. It's very efficient. It helps you go really fast. Those are all good things. But consider at some point in your note-taking journey to move things to pen to paper, whether that's preparing for your exams or taking notes in class, because you're going to be able to gather more information in your head in that active study mode as you go through this. I also want you to keep a study schedule. So you have your schedules already. You have your classes all put together. So what I would like you to have then is when in the day is your best time to study. So when is the best time for you to work? So for example, I know myself. I get up really early because my kids have to go to school, but I'm not a morning person when it comes to working. It's not my morning working brain. I don't get up at 6 and say, I'm ready to start the day. I need at least 4 cups of tea, sometimes a cup of coffee to chase the tea. Okay, these are the things that I have to do. So I get the kids up early, I get here into the office, I can answer email, that's easy to do. But it's not until about, 11 to noon to 1 to 2 that I start going, I can do my work now. I can sit down and say, I have my research I want to work on. I have classes I want to prepare. This is when my brain is most active, most energized. Then I have another sort of sad space of time between like 3 and 5 where I'm like, I want to go home and I want to do this and I want to do that. I want a snack, whatever it happens to be. And then after 5, my brain gets re-energized and I can work until 10 or 11 at night. These are my moments. So you need to detect when your moments are. When does your brain work its best? When are you able to sort of sit down and say, okay, this is my working time? And maybe it falls where class falls. And so you need to sort of think of your second best working time to figure out when you need to study. So set yourself up a schedule and put that schedule into writing somewhere. If you have a Google Calendar or something like that you use to sort of keep track of your life, I keep everything in my Google Calendar. It's the only way I stay organized. So I think that if you have something like that, that'd be really beneficial and helpful to you to have that kind of a space as you go forward. Make a study space. This was very important. I learned this in grad school, not as an undergrad, so I'm giving you advice from the future. I learned this is grad school, so I had a hard time actually studying in college, trying to find myself a space for doing that. I would do it in my dorm most often and things like that. In grad school, you don't have dorms, so I would go to the library to work. But at Hopkins, the library goes down into the ground, and so the bottom level of the library is the basement level. And they had these white noise machines in there that went and it was the most aggravating sound in the entire universe. And I would sit down there and I would try to work and it just and that's all that I heard the whole time, and I couldn't get my brain to work. So I had to find a better space. And for me, actually, the rumble and tumble of a cafe, the sort of roar of a cafe, all that background noise and all these things that people are saying, and the clinking of dishes works really well. I'm a New Yorker, my brain needs noise. And so I have that space. So I'm able to work in a cafe. I would go to the cafe as a grad student. I would study there. I would write there. Those are the kinds of things. So find a space that works for you. A space where you can study, a space where you can actually engage with the space and the time that you're there. Because the worst thing that happens is you go back to your dorm, you get into bed, you say, I'm going to study now, and then you're out. Okay, you don't want that to happen. You want to find a space that works for active studying, for energized studying. Okay, make that space available to yourself. That may be to go to the library. The library can be a great space. Some people need the quiet. Some people need that white noise machine, and you need to be away from all distractions. Library has wonderful spaces for that, so definitely go there. Go there anyway. Libraries are cool. Librarians are cool and libraries are cool. So go there and spend some time in the library and get to know the space. All right, there I get old-fashioned. This doesn't mean flashcards as in a physical card necessarily. But have some portable way for you to study on the go, right? So one of the things that you want to do for active studying is to actually sit down and say, okay, how can I learn this? Because my next thing is overlearning. How can I learn this in such a way that I could teach it to somebody else? Right? That's what you want to try and do for your classes, is learn something so you can teach it to somebody else. It's the great secret of teachers that we didn't all learn what we wanted. We didn't really learn the depth of our fields until we were teaching them. Right? That's the truth of teaching, is that once you start teaching somebody, that's when you go, oh, now I get it. Now I understand what I was getting at all those years of practice in school and PhD programs and all that kind of stuff. Okay, good. So that's active studying. You heard this already before. I'm going to reiterate it. As a professor, come and talk to us. We like to talk, as I'm showing now. I like to talk. I take the microphone and off I go. Okay, but we like to talk. We like to also get to know you. We like to get you to know us. It's really important that we build a collegial relationship with our students. We want to know who you are. We want to know what your interests are. We want to know how we can help you succeed. So I suggest a couple of things about when you get to talk to us. You can come to us after class. That should be for a short conversation. So for example, I teach on Tuesdays and Thursdays during the semester. I have one class that goes from 10 to 11:15 and one that goes from 11:30 to 12:45. I have to get myself, like many of you, from my class that ends at 11:15 to my class that starts at 11:30. I have to do that on a campus that might take, 10, 15 minutes to walk across. So at the end of my 11:15 class, I don't have a lot of time to answer questions. So that's for a really short question. I have a petite question, okay, something like that. Otherwise, I have office hours. All faculty members are supposed to have office hours. They should all be listed on their syllabi in class or declared to you on the first day of class when the office hours happen to be. So you want to make sure they make use of those. People heavily underutilize office hours. Right? Maybe because they're called office hours, they should be called student hours. They're for you. We set aside time for you in our offices to meet you, to talk to you, to engage with you, to help you through the class, and so on. So they are horribly underutilized. I can say from my personal experience, I've been here for 10 years, I can count on two hands, just barely, the number of times someone has used office hours like every week in a semester. Okay, it happens very rarely. People come, sometimes they come for a little bit, sometimes they don't come at all. Come to office hours, especially if you're struggling. I'll get to struggling in a minute, but especially if you're struggling, come to office hours. And if office hours don't work for you, which is often the case, I have office hours when they work for me, when I have time in my office, but I have other time during the week, try and make an appointment with me or with your faculty in the other classes that you're taking. Okay, questions. You asked for questions. Unasked questions are the only bad questions. In our profession, we want questions. We want engagement. We all love what we do. It's why we're here doing it at the university. All right? We all love our subjects. We all love our research. We all love to share that with everybody else. We want questions. We want you to be engaged with us. So certainly in class, you should ask questions. Point of advice, when asking questions, do make sure you're listening to everybody else's questions so you don't ask the same question. You want to make sure you don't do that because that gets a little frustrating in class when people are not paying attention to the questions of others. This has already been said to you, but when you need help, ask early. From a faculty perspective, we can only do so much when it comes to December to help you out. So if you find that you are not doing well in a class, you're really struggling in October, in November, but you come in the beginning of December and say, oh, I'm failing this class, or I need help in this class. There are very few options we have left at our disposal to assist you. If you come to us in September and go, you know what, I'm off to a rocky start, I have a really hard time with this stuff, that's when we can help you. That's when we can actually make this work for you in the early months of the semester. So come to us, come to office hours, ask for help early, ask for help often. Okay. All right, my number one piece of advice, go to class. Okay. When? Always. Always go to class. Always? Yes. Now, this is with a caveat, of course, not when you're sick. We all know, we've all lived through the pandemic. We know how important taking care of yourself during illness happens to be. So not when you're sick, not when something terrible has happened, but under all sort of normal circumstances, you should go to class. Because class is where everything happens. That's what builds the university, is class. That's when, so you might have a lecture to listen to. That might be what class is. But in our college, a lot of our classes are not lecture driven. A lot of our classes are about interaction. They're about engagement. They're about getting through readings together as a group, right? That's a lot of what our college tends to do in CAHSS, in the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. A lot of our classes are interactive. So you want to be in class for all those experiences, and you want to be in class so that you can be evaluated on those experiences fairly and completely. Okay. So you want to go to class for that reason. You want to go to class because that's where everything is going to happen. You want to go to class because it's going to improve your chances of doing well on exams. It's going to give you the opportunity to ask the questions you might have over material. This is why you need to go to class, why you need to have this engagement with your professors and your peers. And also because sometimes when you're in class, it's that other person in class who has the question that cracks it all open for you. Right? So if you're sort of at home trying to do it all yourself, let's say you have, the textbooks and you're reading it on, you're saying, oh, I can do all this without class, I can go there. But you come into stumbling blocks. And sometimes when you're in class, it's not your stumbling block, but somebody else's that opens the door for yours. You can say, aha, now I got it. Now I understand what I'm working on here. All right, so you want to be in class for those kinds of aha moments that happen. It's also a chance to get your professor to slow down, start over again, re-explain something, whatever it happens to be that you go. And like I said, when you're preparing for class, a lot of our classes are reading heavy. I'm going to have read up in here in a second. A lot of our classes are reading heavy. There's a lot of reading in humanities classes, social science classes. And what we want you to be able to do is actively study, to get those readings, to come to class, to talk about those readings in a group of your peers. Okay. So my last point is actually not one of my 5, so I actually made 6 points, which is kind of my way of doing things, is to spend some time reading for pleasure while you're here. Reading outside of your classes. It's going to be hard, I know. But one of the sort of saddest things that I've seen lately in the news and other places is how few people read once they get to college and once they leave college. You have the chance to shape your brains in all kinds of fundamental ways right now. And part of that is to read for pleasure. Read things you're interested in. Read things that are separate from what you're doing in class. Don't be, I see a book. Excellent, fantastic. See, someone's reading already. So I want you to read, to have that space where you can engage with stuff outside of your major, outside of your discipline. You don't want to end up 4 years from now just having your major in mind. It will have narrowed you to a point where you won't be able to adapt as well to the way the world works. You want to broaden while you're here. Yes, you want to focus on your major. Yes, you want to do well in your discipline. But you want to do more than that while you're at UMBC. You want to become a broad and well-thought person. You have to think about your personhood while you're here, as well as your academic status at UMBC. Okay, as I said, I'm Professor Finn, a senior lecturer in Ancient Studies and the director of the Humanities Scholars Program. My office is up in the Performing Arts and Humanities building, so what I usually tell people is that if you climb highest hill on campus and then climb 4 stories of building, you can come to my office. So it's a bit of a challenge to get to me, but it's a beautiful building, and it's a lovely walk on most days on campus. And so I invite you to come and say hello to me. I'm always very willing to talk to new UMBC students, to give my perspective as an alumnus or as a professor to you in person. I also have a large collection of tea, which I will serve to anyone who comes to my office and would sit down for a cuppa for a good half hour or so. So please do consider doing that at some point. Joining me up in the Performing Arts Humanities building. It has been a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you very much. Congratulations on being here at UMBC, and good luck as this first week goes. Remember to, one last piece of advice, read the syllabus. Just read it from the beginning to the end. Okay? Just read the whole way through. Even if it's boring, read it. Okay? It'll be very helpful for you later, I promise. Okay? That's what syllabi are for. All right, thank you everybody. Have a great day.
How about one more round of applause for Dr. Timothy Finn? So good to hear from a faculty member that gives us great advice. And I just started reading a book. I'm reading As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, and it's about the power of positive thought. And I think that we all can use a little bit more of that. So let's encourage the more reading because it is fundamental. All right. So we have reached the end of our presentation, but I would not feel right if I did not mention that we have our own CAHSS advising team. So in addition to your advisors in your departments, I serve as the director of our CAHSS advising team, and I have 4 wonderful teammates and colleagues, 3 of which are here right now. If y'all could put a hand up. We have Miss Molly Timko, who is our pre-law academic advisor. If anyone is interested in knowing what it takes to get to law school, we have Miss Debbie Paul and Miss Janae Wilson, who both work in our psychology department. And we have one member of the team that is not here with us. His name is Robert Pulowski, and he works in our economics department. So we are another layer of support outside of your department. So I love my job. I get to meet with students from all of our majors and programs across the college, being, in the general advising team. So like I said, we are going to be on Instagram now, sending out updates, sending out information to you, and we are always available if you need additional advising support outside of your major or department. So we have reached the point where we would like to, I think we have a few minutes for a few questions. I know we've thrown a lot of information at you. If you have any pertinent questions related to first week, first semester, we do have a microphone available. We can get the microphone to you to ask a question. Who knows, there might be someone else in the audience that's thinking the very same thing. So are there any questions out there? Anybody? Yep, we do. Okay. Oh, yep. One in the back. Janae, if you don't mind. Thank you. And as Ms. Wilson is walking to help the student with the question, please, like I said, think about anything that you might have heard that we can address while we are here. We got you next. We're going to bring the microphone to you. Yep.
So I was wondering about the study abroad. I know I looked it up a little bit too. I was on my phone, sorry. For the 101 sessions, when do they start? And I saw they were virtual, but I didn't see where to sign up.
Okay, so if you go online, you can go, they have their own website, Education Abroad, and if it's not this week, it should be definitely by next week, second week of the semester. They have what's called Education Abroad 101, Study Abroad 101 session, where you can actually go to a session where they will orientate you about the study abroad process. And then after attending the Study Abroad 101 session, you can then be assigned to an advisor that can help you with that. So I would say visit the website first and then look up the information for Study Abroad 101 and attend the orientation session to get you started.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for the question. We have one right here in the gray shirt. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So how do we sign up for academic advising appointments?
What is your major?
Media and Communication Studies.
All right. Well, actually, you can start with sending me an email, and I can connect you with the Media and Communication Studies. Most departments have an advising contact or coordinator, and in this case, we can connect you with that coordinator, and then they would be able to get you assigned to your advisor for this semester.
Yes. Okay. Thank you,
No problem.
Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you for the question. Question in the back. I think we have time for maybe one or two more. We have one in the back and I think one up front.
Where in the back?
Right there in the yellow seat.
Oh.
Yep. There you go. Yep. Thank you.
How often are we supposed to meet with our academic advisors?
Great question. Thank you so much for that question. As much as possible, but you are required to meet with your advisor at least once a semester, and that is because you will have an advising hold placed on your account that prevents you from registering for the upcoming semester. The reason for that is because we want to make sure that you're meeting with an advisor to go over your requirements, ensure that you're taking the right classes, and make sure that you have the prerequisites. So once a semester is a requirement, but we encourage students to come visit us for more than just the registration advising appointment. So we are always open. You can come meet with us as much as possible, as much as you like, but during, in the fall, we start early registration for the spring 2024 semester. So you will be getting emails from your departments telling you to email your assigned advisor so that you can meet with them, go over your classes, get your advising hold removed, and then that way you will be able to register for the upcoming semester. So at least once a semester, but we hope that you will come see us a bit more than that, and we can always help with other issues outside of registration as well.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, thank you. And I think we have time for one more up front on the first row here. These questions are great. Thank you so much. Like I said, we want to make sure that you know where to go and you know when to ask for help.
My question's a little bit of a two-parter.
Okay.
The first part of my question is, how can we get access to finding out about any possible scholarships or even grants for our majors within this college? And the second part is there a way to get access to internships or possible jobs within our major fields?
Yes, great question. So the first question, as far as scholarships, I would definitely visit our Office of Financial Aid they can determine if there are scholarships available, what you're eligible for. Every student here, based on your last name, is assigned to a financial aid counselor. So if you go online and visit the Office of Financial Aid and look up on the website by your last name, it will show you who your assigned advisor is. They would have information on scholarships that you can apply for, what the deadlines are. And you said the second part of the question was internships within your major. So I would start with the advising team, and if you need more information, I would speak with your professors that you are taking classes within your actual academic department. But we can actually get you connected with the Career Center as well, even though they are not within the college. They actually provide internship assistance for all of the colleges and all of the majors on campus. So the Career Center, advising team, and of course, our amazing faculty members. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for the question. So I believe we are at time, but we're going to stick around for a little bit. I have business cards. If anybody wants to ask a few questions that we did not get to do in the audience format, please let us know. I have members of my advising team here, but we just want to thank you so much for attending this session today. We hope that you now have a good idea of all of the resources in your academic toolkit, and we look forward to a great semester. Once again, welcome to UMBC, and go Retrievers! Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.